A lioness is ready to attack a dog that dared to enter her territory. Will she succeed? And what will be the consequences of this battle? Today, we will find out. Welcome to our channel where you will see nature in its purest form. Dogs are very diverse creatures. They can be big or small, fierce or cute, fast or lazy. However, they have one thing in common: loyalty to their owner. It is precisely this quality that makes them one of the most popular pets in the world. But how would they behave if they found themselves in the wild? Well, as it turns out, some four-legged friends try to sneak into lion territory. This story occurred on the outskirts of a village near the Kruger National Park in South Africa. A family of lions was walking along the road when suddenly they saw a dog. To be honest, the dog had no idea that his life was hanging in the balance. He was just taking his evening walk with his owner. The two animals stared at each other for a few seconds. No one knew what to do first. Suddenly, the dog ran across the road and the lion reacted instantly. With lightning speed, the predator knocked the animal down and began to bite its neck. This was the signal for the dog's owner to jump into action. However, he did not come to the rescue of his pet, but only filmed the battle with his phone. After watching this, many people were outraged by the man's behavior. Nevertheless, he claims he did the right thing. You will understand why later. Meanwhile, the dog desperately tried to free itself from the clutches of the beast, but it was no use. Soon, it stopped moving. The male continued to growl menacingly, but his wife was already dragging the prey into the bushes. She wanted to eat first and then play with the leftovers. The couple was interrupted by a group of hyenas. They were also hungry and wanted to get a piece of the carcass. At first, the lions tried to defend the prey, but there were too many hyenas, so they had to retreat. The scavengers could celebrate the victory. However, the hyenas' triumph was short-lived. Soon, an even more dangerous predator appeared, an adult male lion. He was huge and incredibly strong. He chased the hyenas away without much effort. Only one of them got lucky enough to escape. The lion dragged the carcass back into the bushes. Most likely, he wanted to eat to his heart's content without anyone bothering him. But even this did not happen. Soon, a whole pride of lions appeared there. They all wanted to get some of the meat. In total, there were 16 of them. The male shared his dinner with his relatives. Even the lionesses got their share of the food. As for the dog, it became the price to be paid for the feast. Another epic battle between these two animals occurred in India. On this occasion, the confrontation was provoked by a stray dog. He decided to take the goat that belonged to the tigress as prey. Of course, the predator did not like this behavior. She attacked the dog, but it managed to escape. Both animals started running through the forest. The chase lasted about half an hour. Eventually, the tiger managed to overpower the stray. The predator bit the dog and threw it into the air. Then it hit the ground with its paws, trying to finish off the stray. However, he was still alive. Then the tiger bit off the dog's head and finally won the fight. In the next battle, the lion was clearly unprepared. The male decided to hunt antelopes, but it turned out that a large herd of antelopes was grazing in the open area. There were so many of them that the lion couldn't even get close to them. The predator was furious and wanted to leave empty. However, suddenly it saw a dog. The lion realized that this was its chance to eat and attack the animal. At first, the dog tried to defend itself, but the lion was stronger. It grabbed the dog and threw it a few meters. When the predator approached for the final bite, it saw a man standing nearby. Yes, it was the dog's owner. He came running when he saw the dog in trouble. The man scared the lion away and saved the dog's life. Although in this case, the lion deserved to win because the dog invaded its territory. In the next battle, the roles were reversed. A lioness and herd of cubs attacked a dog, and this time it was the dog who won the fight. It all happened in the Indian state of Gujarat. Two cubs were chasing a dog around a house when their mother joined them. Together, they managed to push the dog into the corner. If the predator had finished it off at that moment, there would be no dispute over the winner. However, the lioness only wanted to scare the dog and teach it a lesson. When the dog noticed that the animals were trying to surround it, it picked up a brick nearby and started growling like a real lion. The predators got scared and retreated. The dog continued to growl until the man calmed it down and took it away from there. Although in this story, the lioness did not want to kill the dog, the damage was done. Now it has nowhere to live. People will never let such a wild animal stay in their neighborhood. So soon it may end up on the street. Fortunately, there are many kind people willing to adopt it. Perhaps it will happen with the protagonist of the next story. This dog was wandering along railway tracks when it found a small kitten. The four-legged friend took care of it and fed it. Soon, their friendship became so strong that they became inseparable. However, this idyll lasted not for long. One day, a man came across the animals. At first, he wanted to drive the dog away, but when he saw that it had a kitten, he changed his mind. The man gave the animals food and water, and when he left, they ate with might and main. Every day the man brought the animals food and soon they got used to him. The man visited the animals for several months, but he couldn't take them to his place because he was allergic to cats. But one day he heard that one of his friends needed a cat to control the rodent population on the farm. The man told his friend about the allergy, but he did not believe him. He said that the dog and the cat would get along well together. so the plan was made. The man lured the animals with food and took them to his friend's farm. At first, the dog and the cat were wary of each other, but then they quickly formed a friendly relationship. Later, the man learned that his friend's words were true. The dog really gets along well with the cat. It became much more fun and comfortable to live on the farm. And here's another story that happened in the wild. A lioness with cubs was walking through the jungle when she suddenly heard a strange sound. It was the barking of a dog. The lioness didn't like this intrusion at all, and she wanted to find the source of the unpleasant sounds. Soon, she spotted a small dog. It was sitting on an electric pole and barking furiously. The lioness went around the pole and tried to lure the dog away with her cubs, but it just kept barking. Then the predator had to climb the pole. At first, the dog kept biting the lioness, but it was no use. The angry predator grabbed the dog and threw it to the ground. The lioness wanted to finish off the dog, but her cubs started mewing plaintively. Apparently, they did not want to eat the dog. The lioness looked at the cubs and decided to spare the dog's life. It barked one last time and disappeared from sight. Maybe it ran away from there, or maybe it climbed up another tree. In any case, the lioness was very surprised by this behavior of the dog. So we got to the conclusion that the dog has a chance against the lion, only if it has a human nearby. Otherwise, there is no equal in strength between them. And what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the most interesting videos. See you soon.